Retro.
And welcome everybody to another episode of the Animaniacs.
You know, this really isn't much of a show when they take away the part where we break loose and then vamoose.
Anyone got any bright ideas how to break out of here?
Ideally, in a way that parodies classic movies that's fun for both kids and their parents.
And welcome everybody once again to the Animaniacs. This, of course, is the podcast that's dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs, as well as other shows within the Rugerverse, such as Tiny Toon Adventures, Pinky the Brain, and Freakazoid. And today, it's finally here. It's the third season of the reboot, episode 1. I am Joey, and joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
A 1 and a 2 and a third number.
And across the country, in Georgia, there's Kelly.
Hello.
Hello. Well, I saw a lot of countdowns going on online. People highly waiting with bated breath for the third season of the reboot to come. All 10 episodes are finally out. We are recording this on the day it premiered, February 17th, 2023. And if you were to summarize this first episode of the Animaniacs Reboot, which, just for the record, contains the segments previously on, and then Season 3 and WB Parts 1 and 2, and then How To, Friendship, if someone were to ask you to describe this, episode in just a few words, what would you say, Nathan?
It's a continuation of segments from season 2. Everything on it is a continuation of another.
It's a very good point. It is all as previously seen, the entire thing. There's actually a theme to this episode? No. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Multiple themes, yeah.
Kelly, what about you?
There was a Spielberg reference.
Ooh, yes. I'll see if I won't say what it is. We'll see if we caught the same one, or maybe I hope it's two different Spielberg references, but I think we probably both saw the same one. Well, at any rate, I think before we get into our full discussion, I think we should talk about our wonderful segments that we have here on the Animaniacs. You know, I asked ChatGPT to summarize the Animaniacs, or I think I just asked the AI what is the Animaniacs, and had a really interesting response. Let me pull this up here real quick. It said, the Animaniacs is a podcast that is dedicated to discussing and analyzing the classic animated television show Animaniacs. The podcast is hosted by 3 fans of the show, Joey, Nathan, and Kelly, who share their love and knowledge of the show with listeners. Hey, this is totally spot on. Each episode of the Animaniacs typically covers 1 or 2 episodes of Animaniacs in detail, with the host providing commentary, analysis, and trivia about the episodes. They often interview voice actors, writers, and other people involved in the making of the show, providing insights into the creative process behind the show. Now, this is what I got excited about, because ChatGPT knew something I didn't know. In addition to the episode analysis, the Animaniacs also features segments such as, quote, Nathan's Hidden Talents, in which Nathan showcases his musical talents by creating parodies of songs from the show. Yeah, Nathan's Hidden Talents. And
they are so hidden.
They're so hidden. I don't think we've ever done this segment.
No one will, years from now, they'll still be looking for them.
and the other segment is Kelly's Fun Facts, where Kelly shares interesting facts about the show and its creators, which to me, I got to say, Kelly, I don't know if we should cut that segment, because it kind of seems like that's what we do throughout the entire show. I
mean, unless they're thinking my fun facts are all about Spielberg.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know how that whole thing got written without the mention of Spielberg, to be honest.
And this is where it's really gotten wrong. The Animaniacast has been praised by fans of Animaniacs for its in-depth analysis and insider knowledge of the show, as well as for the host's enthusiasm and humor. The podcast also has helped to keep the legacy of Animaniacs alive. That's right. This AI knows. And introducing new audiences to the show and providing longtime fans with new insights and behind-the-scenes information. So, look, I don't know about...
like 95% accurate.
Exactly. I think some of that is totally spot on. And Nathan's Hidden Talents, the most hidden segment. You have to listen to certain episodes, I think, in reverse to really hear that. It's a subliminal message.
He does do songs, but they're not parodies of anything.
That's true. I just wonder where the AI is picking up, because it's just scanning the internet for, that stuff that's been written that either I've written about the show or, it's on some podcast feeds about the show, stuff like that. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
But it is, of course, time for one of Nathan's hidden talents, like Kelly was mentioning. It is a time for a song. So I had to think of a new title, because before it was November, what was it?
November 5th facts? November 20th.
November 12th trivia, something like that. Yeah.
20th,
well,
I think was the...
Yeah, now it's February 17th. And the only thing I could find, because today's episode, like all the episodes of the third season of Animaniacs Reboot, premiered on February 17th, 2023. So it's time for February Facts. So here it is. It's pretty boring. It's called, Nathan, please give us the theme song for Facts for February 17th.
It's Facts for February 17th. There's just a few examples of events that have occurred on February 17th. And here are those examples.
Yeah. It almost was going into Soundheim right there with the meter. I think it was very new. Okay, what do we got?
Hidden talent.
Yeah, hidden
I
talents.
opened up a chat GPT and I asked what happened on February 17th.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And that last bit of lyrics was from ChatGPT. But I got some movie trivia, since there was a movie in this episode and there was some heist kind of things going on. So we got some heist-ish kinds of movies going on here. So let's see. In 2012, Reese Witherspoon, Chris Pine, and Tom Hardy star in the rom-com spy movie This Means War. I don't know if there's any hasty things in that, but there was some spies.
Was Bugs Bunny in that one too? This Means War.
Yeah, probably. This Means Warner. In 1995, Ben Stiller terrorizes some fat kids and heavyweights.
I remember that movie. Never saw it, but
I didn't see it either. But I assume they were trying to break out or something. I assume. I don't know. Also, there's a hoagie on the picture, so I was like, well, I got to mention that. In 1989, Keanu Reeves heists time in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That premiered on this date?
Yeah, on February 17th, 1989. Excellent movie there. And there's a superhero movie in this. In 2023, Marvel Studio released the movie Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Hey, that's
I don't think I
true.
ever saw that movie yet.
No, I will be shortly, but yes.
Yeah, I'll see it someday maybe. All right. And yeah, those are your February Fantastic Facts.
Ooh, I like that. We'll put in the word fantastic in there next week. Okay, February Fantastic Facts.
Fantastic Mr. Facts. There we go.
Oh my gosh, I like that. The February Fantastic Mr. Facts. All right, well, thank you so much, Nathan, for that. Well, I think we should get right into today's episode discussion, and we're going to start off with the catching us up segment. Previously on
Animaniacs.
So previously on it was a previously on Animaniacs. It kind of showed what happened with 23 and WB in season 2, episode 13, where it was determined that the Warners are not related. Honestly, I forgot almost everything from that episode. But the Warners aren't related to Flora Dora, Norita, and all that stuff. But who is Ralph the guard, because Ralph was Floradora's brother's son? Or not? Yeah, right? Ralph is their long-lost nephew, I believe.
He's the uncle to the cousin to the... Whatever.
But, so basically we're watching this, and throughout the entire thing it shows Yakko doing spit takes, which I believe that one of those initial spit takes is from the other episode. But they just kept doing additional spit takes, and I think at one point even a cup of coffee or something like that does a spit take of Yakko.
As chairman, he is your new boss. So Ralph runs Warner Brothers now?
And kind of catches you up what happened, in case you didn't see the episode. And then it gets into the theme song. And the theme song even has an excessive spit takey variable verse.
Excessive spit takey.
There is one change, by the way, of...
Yeah, I noticed this. Did you notice it?
I didn't notice until I saw it was pointed out online by some folks. There was a change, one small change in the theme song, which I thought they would have put, Norita in Ralph's position as security guard, but they didn't. Of course, I guess it would have made sense at that point because she wasn't announced to be the security guard before the credits. Well, whatever. The biggest change was the contract was different, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does it have on the contract there, Nathan?
It says 2 and 10/13 new seasons instead of 2 new seasons. So it said the first 2 seasons, because right away they were signed up for 2 new seasons, right?
Right, exactly. So this one, I think it says 10 out of 13 because I think they would have wanted to do 13 episodes like they did in their other seasons, but were only picked up for 10. So again, I know it was a big shocker and everything for a lot of people. As soon as I heard that they were only picked up for 10 episodes, I was thinking, okay, this is the last season of the show. They're winding it down for whatever reason. Hulu was not picking up more episodes. So whatever. But yeah, I think that was kind of a nice little, I guess, hint right there that the people behind the show really kind of felt, I don't know, maybe they're kind of saying that this season is kind of incomplete in a way.
Like a little, yeah. It's something that at least the animators are,
Yeah, it's only 10/13ths of what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, well, that was that. So we have that. I mean, I don't know what to say about the previously on, other than I really wish they did it slightly different than what they did. I kind of was hoping for something like in the original series where they had a whole segment where it was previously on and it was showing the water tower exploding and showing like all this stuff that never happened. And then was completely ignored, like because it's inconsequential. There is, at least in the original series, no overarching plot to the Warners. It's just
except for Mr. Plots.
Exactly. He's the only plots that's important. But there was no,
continuation.
No continuation. I kind of appreciated that in the original series but I guess that's not what you do with cartoons these days.
I mean, there was just Hooray for North Hollywood, right?
Hooray for North Hollywood also did that. But I'm talking about, I think they had 2 of them, right? They had a previously on the Animaniacs on just a random episode of Animaniacs where they were just showing like, the Warners acting dramatic, like you can't do this. And they're trying, you just, is this ringing any bells, Nathan?
Yeah. I remember the big explosion.
Yeah. And then they did it again with, Hooray for North Hollywood, where they summarized the beginning.
You can't make a movie.
We want to make a movie.
You can't make a movie.
That was pretty much it. For a full half hour. And now, part 2.
We still want to make a movie.
You can't make a movie.
We still want to make a movie.
You can't make a movie.
We still want to make a movie.
You can't make
make a movie.
So much for part 2. Spew!
Yeah, it summarized it really well. Yeah.
Hilarious stuff. This was not as funny or amusing, but it was still, I guess, important to do because that's the way, the style of writing that these writers are doing it for the reboot, to have this overarching plot.
At least in these 2 episodes,
That's true.
It's
That's
not
true.
Like a,
but it still is like a, even if I mean, because like Niles Needhart or whatever, it's like, oh, it's you again. You're back. You were in our previous episode. You know what I mean? It's,
but
these episodes are meant to be seen
in the original. Yeah, in an order.
Yeah, in an order. Whereas the original series, you could just pick up a random episode, and it doesn't really matter which one comes.
And a lot of times
they
aired even out of order, like
exactly
making the Hip Hippos and things like that, where you're like,
right,
oh,
yeah, the Hip Hippos origin,
like,
and same thing with Minerva. Meet Minerva was before or after, I should say, Moon over Minerva, I think, right? So. It's all mixed up in the original series because it didn't matter. It didn't matter then. Yeah. Well, at any rate, let's go ahead and get into our main discussion of today's episode. And we are going to start off, and we're actually going to combine this first, the Warner segment, even though it's truncated, it's separated into 2 segments in the episode. We're going to combine it. So we're going to talk about Season 3 and WB Parts 1 and 2. And Season 3 and WB was written by Lucas Crandalls and Timothy Nash. It was directed by Brett Barron. And Nathan, what happens here in these Season 3 and WB segments?
Oh, man. Okay, so we start off and there's a big superhero kind of villains. I don't know what's happening. They're going to take all the marinara, but this superhero Meatball Man's going to stop them. And
question you got to ask yourself is, do I feel hungry? Well, do I, punk?
Once he's right about to eat the last super villain, we cut to, this movie called Meatball Man, and Ralph's watching it, and he's loving it because it has meatballs in it.
The best bit was the meatballs.
Which is something that he specifically asked for in last season's last episode. So
I was surprised
cool.
that it was Meatball Man 2. Like they had already
so they're already done. Yeah.
They already did one of these films already. And this is so apparently the first one at least was very successful.
It's probably pretty good, yeah. Ralph's even got like some really nice hair now. He's like seems like a pretty good CEO.
He's lost weight.
I don't know. He's going to celebrate by eating meat, he says. He hasn't had any for the longest time, so he's going to buy the $1 million hoagie, which is also 1,000,000 calories, which when Nora sees that, she gets so upset she quits her job.
Enough of this nauseating nepotistic nonsense!
You will fall in line and respect my beloved brother, Ralfonso. I mean my great-grandnephew, Ralph.
Well, if you want to run this place into the ground, then you can do it without me! I quit!
Only to then get a new job as the security guard. So now she's hunting the Warners, and she's actually really good at getting the Warners.
I like your enthusiasm, I really do. But if you want to catch us Warners, well, you have to wake up pretty early in the... Honestly, who wakes up at 4:30 a.m.?
Nora does.
And she can lock them in the tower, and they cannot break loose. They cannot vamoose. And they do some parodies of like some, prison breakout movies. And when the Warners have decided to give up, and they tell Nora they'll do anything to get out. And she's like, anything? And then we to black, and it says to be continued. And then we have a segment in between, but we'll talk about that later. And now cutting back to part 2 of this season 3 in WB, we open up, and now it's going to be the world movie premiere of Meatball Man 2. And Ralph's getting super excited because his meatball sandwich has just arrived. But right before he can eat it, the Warners steal it from him.
Yoinky, yoinky.
They leave only one meatball in his hand. He takes a bite, and by taking a bite, it's meatball powers or something, and he turns into the classic bald Ralph. With his security uniform on, and he chases the Warners all through the Warner lot, and eventually he's about to eat Dot, or at least the sandwich, but she throws it, and he jumps in the air to eat it, but almost lands on Flora, who was saved by Nora. Nora knocks over Ralph's before she can crush Flora, and then Flora becomes the CEO again, and Nora makes Ralph chief of security operations and guarding stuff.
And then everything's back to how it is, and he's chasing the Warners through the lot, and the Warners talk about how everything's back the way it should be.
Yeah, and the lot's pretty much destroyed right now. So
yeah. Well, let's talk about the cultural references, and let's start with this Meatball Man thing, because there's quite a few. It kind of reminds me, obviously like a superhero film. They're kind of doing reminds me of like Batman versus the Joker, like an Ace Chemical Plant.
Reminds me of Powdered Toast Man too. The way
definitely, I think I don't think I'm sure I'll talk about this more later, but I don't think the writers, or at least not the writers necessarily, but the executives, executive producers behind the show were necessarily a fan of Animaniacs in the 90s, but I think they were fans of Ren and Stimpy. So something like Meatball Man, it really looks like a Powdered Toast Man kind of a homage more than anything. He says pasta la pizza, hasta la vista, like the Terminator. The whole Dirty Harry thing of do you feel lucky, punk? There's a Green Goblin-ish kind of character that's, I think, Olive Loaf in this. They're all different sausages and stuff. Different luncheon meats, I suppose, as bad guys. Which it seems kind of weird that some meat is fighting meat. You know what I mean? Like, you would think that the bad guys would be not more meat, but whatever. Not in this case. The meatball power, by the way, when he says meatball power, and especially when Ralph says it later, it just sounded like Scrappy Doo to me when he says puppy power. That's what I thought of. But yeah. But I did see a Spielberg reference. And Kelly, what was that Spielberg reference? Did you see the same one I did?
Ralph rolled up into like a boulder. Like you see in Raiders of the Lost Ark chasing Indiana Jones.
So that's what they first see it with Meatball Man. And then everything is really duplicated. Two Spielberg references for the price of one. Exactly.
Because they do it the same reference twice.
If you miss it
everything
the first
that
time,
happens in the movie is happening again at the... So Meatball Man spits marinara, Ralph spits water. He becomes a giant boulder. Meatball Man becomes a giant meatball. And then the whole punching scene with Dot is the exact same as in the movie. And Ralph even says do you feel hungry, or do I?
Yeah.
That
was the very kind of upsetting thing based upon what I saw at the beginning was like, so he's going to eat Dot right now? Is that really what he's threatening Dot with?
The movie got changed. In the movie, Meatball Man no longer eats the guy. He just looks to his right.
Okay. That's true because it cuts away the first time.
Yeah, the first time you go into the Meatball Man's mouth. But the second time, he looks to his right just like Ralph does. So I don't know what got changed before the final edit, but something. Maybe he must have thrown the remote or something.
Okay.
Why didn't they just push the button on the remote? He's like, instead of running away, just push the button. I don't know.
There's a lot of things I don't know about this.
If I saw Meatball Man 2, that would be my big gripe. I'd be like, man, they just got to push the button.
Great movie, but they should have pushed the button.
I like Gabagool and all.
Oh, yeah, that was very appropriate. So let's go ahead and go to some more references. We got the Warner lot is just completely overrun with vines and stuff. And, it shows you, which is very confusing because I always thought Ralph was like an ineffectual security guard. Apparently, he's the only thing actually keeping Warner Brothers from falling completely to pieces from the Warners. Because the whole lot was over like the Amazon jungle because of Ralph not being the security guard, I'm assuming. They're chasing Dr. Scratch and Sniff around, and they say that they say it was a Lord of the Flies bit, in which Wacko says, "I'm Frodo," which
Hey, who would dare interrupt our Lord of the Flies bit?
Yeah, I'm Frodo.
Should we tell him?
Lord
And they were in a cage, and so I kept going in my head, Freundleben.
Had a perfect opportunity to say that, but they didn't. Oh well.
Yeah, and I was like, "Is Frodo in Lord of the?"
They have a Dark Knight reference, which turns into a Dark Knight Rises reference with this whole airplane thing. They have an Ocean's 11 type homage where they have people trying to rescue the Warners out of the tower. They have
Shawshank Redemption, I think, is
sort of
Wacko's.
Yeah,
I think it's Wacko because then he screams and he's in the rain and he's like in his underwear.
Okay. See,
and the posters hiding the hole in the wall.
See,
the
and that's
poster
something that I
Sniff.
need to. That's something that I'm glad that you picked up on because I still have not seen Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, it's so good.
He doesn't use a spoon in Shawshank, but yeah, it's basically the same.
It's really
Okay.
good.
So,
And 1 million. I think they showed it's
Maybe he
Dr.
does use a
Scratch
spoon.
and Sniff. They have Dr. Scratch and Sniff on the poster with it's like 1 million years BC, and isn't there like a movie like 1 million years BC was a movie with Raquel Welch, who just passed away. So there you go.
Weird.
Another reference. Yeah, she just passed away like yesterday. So there you go. That's pretty much all the references that I could think of. I'm sure there's more. Have you guys see any other ones that I may not have mentioned?
They mentioned Kevin Bacon and John Hamm.
That's true.
And they mentioned a sandwich that killed Elvis. That's a pop culture thing.
Which did that sandwich kill Elvis?
And Wonder Woman and Batman were in the second part. So there's another
that's true.
Batman
Wonder Woman
reference.
and Batman are actually they're in the lot. And yes, I'm pretty sure a mixture of several substances killed Elvis. I don't know if it was just a sandwich.
Yeah, that's just like a thing they say.
Kevin, I did think that was kind of a cute line, I guess. The Kevin Bacon will be playing some ham, and John Hamm will be playing some bacon. And yep, I will say the press had the same reaction I did to that joke, but whatever. Well, any other things? What did you notice in this first, I guess you could say, the first and third segments here that was amusing or things that made you scratch your head or anything like that? Kelly, let's start with you.
Oh, I think we've mentioned everything that I made note of. I did like the line about the Lord of the Flies and Frodo, and then should we tell him?
Yeah,
that was funny, and I liked the pasta la pizza gravy. That was sort of a clever twist on the line, and of course the Indiana Jones boulder made me happy.
Yes, very excited for the next Indiana Jones movie. I hope it's good.
It will have a John Williams score, so I'm sure the score will be great.
Yes, exactly. If anything, we have John Williams music, so that's always good. Nathan, anything? What did you notice? Anything that made you laugh or chuckle or whatever?
The reviews of Dark Knight Rises was accurate.
See, I forgot that the Dark Knight had an airplane sequence.
Batman needs to fly to Tokyo, I think.
Tokyo,
or something or somewhere, just to distract the guy that's good with numbers.
Yeah, that really felt like Christopher Nolan just wanted to go to Japan.
Yeah.
It really felt like that. I remember now that you mention it, that whole Japan sequence was just like, and why are we here again? That movie has so much stuff to it.
The cops don't have the right to extradite him, but
That's
Batman
true.
does.
That's what. That's right. I don't
Batman
know.
can kidnap people.
It's been so long. I have to admit, I have the Dark Knight on Blu-ray, but the last time I saw it was that one time in the theater, or maybe I've seen like little bits and pieces of it, obviously online, and maybe it's on TV or something. But I need to sit down and watch the whole thing from beginning to end again. Dark Knight Rises, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's not great.
I mean, really, was not as good as the first two by any means.
Not as good as the first one. But it got Bane. Bane's the fun to do that voice, so whatever.
I didn't understand why Flora in the first act, she's like, "Oh, my Ralfonso can have whatever he wants," and then in the second act, she's like, "Who gave him meat?" And you're like, that was exactly what Nora was saying. Like, don't let him have meat. And then she's like, "Oh, how could I say no? Oh, who did that?" And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
So
hey, wait a minute. That's why they separate. So that's why they separated out this cartoon into two parts. So they'd hope you forget the fact that
that's like
Floridora said it's okay for him to have meat in the first segment and not okay in the second segment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy,
I don't
plot
know.
hole.
I don't know. It may not be a plot hole. It just may be that she was shifting blame to other people,
maybe,
and not acknowledging that she said he could have anything he wanted.
But it is interesting that just being a vegetarian made him like, it was kind of like in Scott Pilgrim. Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
There's a vegan and he's like super powerful because he's a vegan. It just means he's better than you. So like
eat Oreos.
Yeah, see,
Oreos
vegans
are
are
vegan.
Oreos are vegan. In the credits they credit Floridora, which was not in this episode.
I
It was in the
noticed
previous
that
episode.
too. The song
And I
is
was like-
credited, and I thought, are they just trying to get some more money off the?
I was like, I'm gonna watch this episode like 3 more times, and I did. And I was like,
to make
do
sure
they
didn't
sing this
that
song?
Yeah, they
yeah.
That is weird. I saw that too, and I thought maybe that got cut out at the last minute.
I don't know.
Or maybe that's a way to get the people who wrote the song a little bit more money if it's put in the credits. Of another
I think it
episode.
was a mistake because they left out a song from the Pinky and the Brain episode. Pinky sings the "How-To" jingle,
And that's not put
that
in
in the
there.
credits. So I think they'll fix it sometime in post if anyone ever like.
Maybe by the time
pointed
you
out
listen
to
to
them.
this in the future, that'll be fixed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at
I was
least on
like-
an original airing, it was messed up.
It's wrong.
It's all wrong. Okay. Well, I did see, I was the second time I was watching it, I did see a line that I kind of liked, and that was something that Narita said to her grandmother and to Ralph, which is that this nauseating nepotistic nonsense. Some good,
Alliterations.
alliteration, consonants, I guess is the term for that. I think. Well, that was kind of a cool thing. And I thought it was a little confusing. I mean, it was kind of, I guess, amusing that Nora is using a Sharpie pen on her iPad or whatever to circle want ads and, cross out other job opportunities.
I thought it was just a stylus.
Was it a stylus? I thought it was an
I
actual
don't know. I thought it was I thought it was a marker too. But did you notice her cat? Her cat looked just like her. And her mom's cat looks just like her mom. If that was her mom, I can't remember if it's her mom or her grandmother, but
yeah, I forget now too.
but anyways, Flora's cat looks like Flora, and Nora's cat looks like Nora. It's cute. It's like,
oh, there you go. All right. Well, anyway, that's that thing.
Hi, Animaniacs Podcast. This is Chick Venera as Pesto the Pigeon. That's a mouthful. Why would you do that to someone? Why? Okay, that's it. I'm out of here.
Hey, Fairfax, Virginia. Freakazoid is coming to town. Well, not actually Freakazoid. Me, Paul Rugg. I do the voice of Freakazoid, as well as the voice of Mr. Director and the Clown from Animaniacs, Lord Starchbottom from the 7D, the Dark Lord Chuckles the Silly Piggy, Ned from Earth and Ned on Disney+, and a whole bunch of others. Come see all of us at Fairfax Comic-Con Jr., March 4th. Free buttons if you say Hugbees. See you there.
Hey,
Hey friends, Paul Rudd, Tom Ruger here, and we have some exciting news.
That's right, Tom and I are going to be appearing all over the country talking about Freakazoid, Animaniacs, and all the other different shows. And we're super excited to be coming to
Anaheim, California.
And the dates are
March 24th, 25th, and 26th.
So join us, won't you? You know, our favorite thing about
Anaheim, California
is
no mosquitoes.
Shut up. That's John Mariano. He's the voice of Bobby from The Goodfeathers. And you're listening to the Animaniacast. Will you untie me now? Shh, go it. I'm listening to the program.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our Pinky in the Brain segment, and that is called How to Friendship.
I like to make videos. I like to make videos. I really like to make videos. See how I do.
And How to Friendship was written by James Butler and Brad DePrima. It was directed by Brett Barron. And Kelly, why don't you tell us what happens here in How to Friendship?
Okay. Pinky is making some how-to videos, sort of like their version of TikTok videos. And the theme is how to friendship. And so he's making a list of how to friendship and wants to demonstrate with his bestest friend, the Brain. And so the first one is to make breakfast for your bestest friend. And he makes Brain French toast.
This is just a piece of burnt toast with a bite taken out of it.
Ah, yes. Well, sorry. I got a little hungry on my way back from France, didn't I?
Meanwhile, Brain's trying to create this hydraulic system of bipedal exoskeleton. His plan is to go to Brass Mountain in Pennsylvania, and there's a storage facility there, and I guess Charles Dickens' will is located there, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, what? They would have moved it to America? I don't know.
British, but anyway, and Charles Dickens is so random, but he's going to have his will rewritten, and so Brain will inherit the estate. And then Pinky is doing some random acts of friendship as his next example, and he's made this little photo frame out of macaroni, and Brain's trying to find the blueprints for this Brass Mountain facility.
Pinky, these are the blueprints to Brass Mountain. They took me months to procure on the black market. Your photograph is obscuring my blueprints, and it's covered in macaroni and glue.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad.
And so he told Pinky that he's unfriended. And Pinky said, in real life or Chatstagram or whatever? And Brain said, both. And so he storms off. And then Pinky's next example on how to friendship is to make a song from the heart. And you can see Brain on the screen, and he's sort of going through his plan. And Pinky's in the room with all the equipment, and he's making a song.
Pinky, no!
So I'm sorry, Brain. I'm sorry, Brain. I'm sorry, Brain. Please forgive me.
Pinky, your inputs are disrupting the command pathway flow of my control unit.
Be my friend, Brain. Be my friend, Brain. Be my friend, please.
I, Charles Dickens, bequeath my inheritance to the Brain. Oh dear.
Drum solo! Love.
And it's a parody of some song that I recognize, but I could not for the life of me come up with the name of it.
It was Funky Town, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah, because it has a very similar beep, 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 beep,
Yeah,
beep,
that's
beep.
what I wrote.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if you take the words that he's saying, you could easily match them up in a in a different pattern to the Funky Town.
Got
lyrics.
it. I knew it was something I'd heard of.
Yeah.
So Pinky's moving all around and actually controlling the Brain's exoskeleton, I guess, by this point. And so he hits the eject button and Brain goes flying across, but he's almost apprehended. So this prevents him from being apprehended and everything. But like every bone in his body's broken. So the next time we see him, he's back in the lab and he's covered all over in bandages. Maybe not broken because they're not casts, but he's covered from like neck all the way down to his feet in bandages. And Pinky's hugging him, and you can hear bones crack at that point, I think. And but Brain tells him that if he hadn't hit the eject button, then he would have been in a lot of trouble. He basically saved his life. Mm-hmm. So Brain forgave Pinky, and he had the picture that Pinky made sitting behind him.
Yeah. And there we go. And it was probably not intentional. But it ends with a gritty, it was, I think, the only joke in this entire episode that actually made me chuckle out loud, which is the pulling of the the glued picture off of Brain's back, which pulls off a bunch of like hair and stuff, I guess, off of him. It's like the 40-year-old virgin joke, which hair removal is always funny, right? Gosh, cultural references. I think we basically mentioned them, pretty much all of them. The Funky Town thing was the major thing that I could see. I don't know. The robot kind of looked like those robots from RoboCop, perhaps, sort of, stylistically. But that was pretty much it, unless you guys had any other thoughts of anything else. Nathan, could you think of anything else?
I wrote stuff. Let's see. What did I write? It's a follow-up to the season 2 cartoon, How To. Brain Takes Over the World.
This is a sequel, yes.
The Brass Mountain, Pennsylvania.
Doesn't exist.
It's a reference to Iron Mountain in Michigan, is my guess.
That's what Nathan's guessing. Brass Mountain, Iron Mountain. Iron Mountain is a actual place that stores
where they store documents. It's like the oldest, it's a famous storage facility of these classified documents and things like that. It's not in Pennsylvania, but
I wonder why they would change it. Are they afraid we're all going to do like a national treasure and like show up in Pennsylvania?
Hey, let's all go to Iron
Michigan?
Mountain. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, you remember what happened when they in the 90s when Pinky and the Brain did Opportunity Knox, and then everybody started going to Fort Knox trying to steal all the gold because they saw two ways to it. They just thought, well, they just weren't.
They were like,
"Show
enough. Us the brain, show us the brain."
So anyway, yeah, that was very confusing, a confusing reference, because I literally looked up. I just did the same thing that I would do in any other episode of Pinky and the Brain. If they mention a place, and I'm like, oh, what is Brass Mountain? It doesn't exist. If it's not in the archives, it doesn't exist.
Right. I don't know. It's kind of fun when they mention the places that are real, and then you go like, "Oh, I learned about a new place."
Exactly. This is
Iron
just
Mountain,
too obscure. It feels like almost like the references that they do in the Animaniacs comic book, where they change it too much, and then it's just not funny anymore.
Right. I was like, "It's the wrong state. It's the wrong." Yeah, but I'm just pretty sure
more
that's
confusing than funny or interesting, I guess. But whatever.
So yeah, I was looking up Charles Dickens because I was like, because his whole plan is trying to get in the will of Charles Dickens, but he died so long ago that his estate no longer gets royalties because it's after 70 years after your death, you no longer receive royalties for the thing. So his plan is flawed from the start.
Well, is that United States though? I think the copyrights are different in England.
In the United Kingdom, as the author passed away in 1870. This is according to ChatGPT.
Okay. And we know that that's the ultimate authority on everything.
Yeah.
It knows about us.
The copyrights laws generally expire after a certain number of years after the death of the author.
Yeah. Oh, I thought United States was 100, but I get numbers mixed up all the time.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't know. They keep extending it because of Walt Disney, right?
Yeah, Mickey Mouse. Because technically he'd be out of copyright in he was created in 1928.
I think technically Steamboat Willie, I think, is out of copyright right now, but just that version of Mickey Mouse.
And that was 1928.
Right. So Steamboat Willie is okay to use, but I don't think any, people are jumping at the chance to do that because they don't want to take on Disney in court because Disney's going to say not so fast for X, Y, or Z reasons.
Well, and now everything that they're releasing right now has Oswald the Lucky Rabbit on it. Like they're really trying hard to retain that copyright.
Yeah, which I'm all for because I like Oswald. I think he's a cool looking character. Anyway,
but yeah, it's like Winnie the Pooh is now in the public domain.
Oh, yeah, they have that horrible.
that movie looks crazy.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it and I went, huh. It almost looks like a parody horror film, but no, it's a movie that somebody actually decided to make. It looks bad. I heard it is bad.
I don't even know what you're talking about, but yeah.
Oh,
cool.
there's a movie called Blood and Honey, and it's just about a serial killers dressed
Winnie the Pooh
up.
horror movie.
Yeah, I don't know if at first I thought it was serial killers dressed up like Winnie the Pooh, but now it looks like after I saw the trailer that it's supposed to actually be Winnie the Pooh killing people. I don't really know that much, and I don't really care that much.
I respect them though for some originality.
Sure. Well, I don't know. Okay, so that was the Pinky and the Pinky and the Brain. Yeah. What were some things that you saw in this second segment that you thought were amusing? Kelly, what do you think?
I always mention my stuff when I'm doing the narration. Let me see if I made any notes that I didn't. I did make a note that I didn't mention, I don't think. So anyway, his hydraulic system for his exoskeleton, he was combining the traits of a bunch of different kinds of dogs.
Yeah, that
from
was
what I
cute.
understood.
Yeah,
I never understand what he's actually trying to accomplish half the time.
Well,
because
in this one,
yeah,
and in this one, you don't really know because he gets interrupted. It's not about taking over the world; it's about getting money to take over the world. Right. Yeah. So you don't know what the plan is to take over the world, but this is just part one is to get money. Part two, we don't know.
I feel like his plans in the reboot are so multifaceted.
Yes.
And, it's like, I've got to get this to get the resources to make the plan to take over the world.
Right.
Yeah. He didn't have a plan this time.
There wasn't a plan. There was just like, look, I just need money. The plan was, I need money.
And then, if he just sold chipmunk brains, then I think he would have made all his money. I think he has a lot of followers. And if they all buy a chipmunk doll, then...
It's a good point because Pinky's an influencer.
Yeah.
True.
Use the promo code ChipmunkBrain11 for 10% off brain plushies.
We learned from the last episode. So he's like, yeah, just sell chipmunk brains. Like, why did he get mad at that?
Oh, well.
Because he has to overcomplicate everything.
Exactly. Yeah. I will say that I did like how... I know that there's a lot of shippers out there that really want to see Pinky and the Brain actually as a real couple. And I'm not, going to argue with that because, like what you like. And if that's what you think is great, then great. But I really get the feeling, especially if we're watching this Pinky and the Brain and other ones that, gosh, Pinky's love for the Brain and their love for each other it's a friendship, but it's so innocent. It's not, I don't understand necessarily especially when I watch segments like this, they're like kids, you know what I mean? Like, especially if Pinky, like he just loves the Brain so much, but I never see him when I'm watching this thinking it's like an attraction of, I love you. You know what I mean? He just loves them like a dog would love it's, their owner or something like that. Pinky's just like a little puppy. He just loves the Brain so much.
Unconditional love.
Exactly. And the Brain, it really did almost look like, me and a dog that I get home and my dog is in my face, licking my face. And I'm like, get away from me. I love you. Now get away. And that's the same kind of...
You're mean to your dog.
Well, I do love my dogs, but they need to get away from me.
You're supposed to lick them back.
You know what? I'll try that next time. You lick me, I'll lick you. See how you like it.
Yeah.
Well, Nathan, what did you think about this Pinky and the Brain segment?
I liked when Pinky tried to say that 5 times fast.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Now then, the first way to how to friendship is by making breakfast for your best friend. Oh dear, try saying that 5 times fast. That
I can't do it. Whew, that is hard.
I thought of you and Brain's watching. He's like, stop forcing me to watch this. Have I not suffered enough? And I was like, if Joey said a quote at the beginning of the episodes, that would be.
Maybe.
Yeah. It was fun seeing because the how to Brain take over the world was a fun one. So it was fun to revisit it, I guess.
I didn't quite understand why those security guards would blow up the very thing that they were trying to protect. You know what I mean?
They're not very good security guards.
They're not very good. This Brass Mountain, horrible place to store.
But also, like, who goes back to a will like 100 years later and goes like, "That's good."
There wasn't anyone more contemporary.
Yeah, there's already done. It's already done, Brain. Like you.
I think it was just the writer's
already given
attempt.
away his
I think it was the attempt to show that the brain is smart, and let's just an author, Charles Dickens. Yes, it makes absolutely no sense, location wise and time wise. Like if they had mentioned a 20th century author, you know what I mean? That was an American author. Even if they're not known for being that rich, well, I'm sure they might be still getting some residuals. So why not pick that person?
He could have picked Michael Crichton.
Yeah, Michael Crichton's will.
That'd be perfect.
Pretty sure that
he's
had some money.
Yeah, totally. Like that would have been a perfect one right there.
Dead, and
yeah,
you know what? In the last,
he could put himself on a will that's not dead too, because once they die, then you'll get all their stuff.
Exactly.
That also works. It's
like just breaking into a probate court or something like that. I must go to the superior court, Pinky, in my robot machine and go into the clerk's office. Doesn't have the same
backwards Gary.
effect.
It's fun to see.
Oh yeah, they have
backwards.
That was one of the few things that made me chuckle in the second season. Right there, the thing was kind of gifs all around him.
Yeah, and the other ones were from the cutening. The
llama corn and
the
ice cream and stuff. Yeah, all right. We're getting references to previous episodes of the reboot. So there we go. Well, I think let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating. What do you guys? What do you guys think out of 5 water towers? What do you think about the first episode of the 3rd season of the Animaniacs reboot? Out of 5 water towers, how many would you give it? Kelly, let's start with you.
It's so hard because I haven't seen all the other episodes. I guess 3.5.
Okay.
I'm kind of stuck between 3.5 and 4. It was fine. The little song that Pinky did was cute, and it didn't have like anything gross or that kind of stuff usually bothers me. So it was fine.
Okay, and Nathan, what about you?
Oh boy, I don't know. I'll do 3.5 as well because it was fine. I think it was better than average of the new season of Animaniacs.
New seasons, yeah.
So I think it was. So if 3 is average, this is better than average. So yeah, 3.5.
Okay.
And it had the Spielberg reference with the boulder. So
that's true. You should probably knock it up a whole nother point for that.
That would be 4.
I did 2. I did it twice.
No, I'm going to give this one 2.5. It's nothing was offensive or anything, and it seemed like they worked to the characters. But then again, I don't know. It wasn't funny, so at least it was not as fun. Like there was a couple things that made me chuckle, but I did the. I was thinking to myself, I'm being too hard on this. I'm just going to show this episode today during lunch in the library and see what kids in the library do. Maybe they'll laugh at the stuff I didn't laugh at. Silence. Kids watch this cartoon. Silence. I could put on an episode of the original show. They chuckle and they laugh and they point. Like we were watching Roll Over Beethoven the other day, and that a pianist joke That got some kid, that got a boy nudging the kid next to him, going, "You get it?
Get it? You get it?
You get it? You get it?" And the other kid's like, "Oh, I don't get it. What?" But it got them into it, right? And they were just going bum 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 after they saw the cartoon.
They learned something.
They learned something and everything like that. But they enjoyed it. I showed this at lunchtime, and I see some kids. Some kids were watching it. And one girl, I asked her at the end of it, I said, "Did you think that was funny?" She went, "No." I was like, "Oh boy, okay." Well, so I'll say 2.5. Like, again, nothing in it was horrible or anything, but I certainly would have loved if I would have laughed a little bit more in this cartoon. Well, let's go to get to some contact information. Nathan, where can people find you online?
Joey, I'm on Facebook. No, wait, I'm Twitter. That's what I am on.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Django FT. That's me.
And Kelly, what about you?
I am also on Twitter, Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS.
All right. And as for the Animaniacast, we're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and other stuff. We're a proud member of the Retro Zap Podcast Network, so you can always go to animaniacast.com. You can see our Retro Zap archives over there, or just go to Retro Zap and just look at all the cool stuff that Retro Zap has every day. Articles and podcasts and stuff. Oh my. And of course, we're on our Retro Zap Discord if you want to get over there and talk to us about anything Animaniacs or anything else pop culture with the wonderful folks at Retro Zap. And subscribe to us on any podcast thingamabobber that you have, and you can listen to all our previous episodes. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
Pinky, stop forcing me to watch this. Have I not suffered enough?